The Uses of Enchantment, the Meaning and Importance of Fairy Tales, by Bruno Bettelheim. From Part 1, A Pocket Full of Magic, Bringing Order into Chaos. Before and well into the Oedipal period, roughly ages 3 to 6 or 7, the child's experience of the world is chaotic, but only as seen from an adult point of view, because chaos implies an awareness of the state of affairs. If this chaotic fashion of experiencing the world is all one knows, then it is accepted as the way the world is. In the language of the Bible, which expresses the deepest feelings and insights of man, in the beginning the world was without form. The way to overcome chaos is also told in the Bible. God divided light from darkness. During and because of the Oedipal struggles, the outside world comes to hold more meaning for the child, and he begins to try to make sense of it. He no longer takes for granted that the confused way he sees the world is the only possible and appropriate one. The manner in which the child can bring some order into this worldview is by dividing everything into opposites. In the later Oedipal and post-Oedipal ages, this splitting extends to the child himself. The child, like all of us, is at any moment in a welter of contradictory feelings. But while adults have learned to integrate these, the child is overwhelmed by these ambivalences within himself. He experiences the mixture of love and hate, desire and fear within himself as an incomprehensible chaos. He cannot manage feeling at one and the same moment both good and obedient, yet bad and rebellious, although he is. Since he cannot comprehend intermediate stages of degree and intensity, things are either all light or all darkness. One is either all courage or all fear, the happiest or the most miserable, the most beautiful or the ugliest, the smartest or the dumbest. One either loves or hates, never anything in between. This is also how the fairy tale depicts the world. Figures are ferocity incarnate or unselfish benevolence. An animal is either all devouring or all helpful. Every figure is essentially one-dimensional, enabling the child to comprehend its actions and reactions easily. Through simple and direct images, the fairy story helps the child sort out his complex and ambivalent feelings so that these begin to fall each one into a separate place, rather than being all one big muddle. As he listens to the fairy tale, the child gets ideas about how he may create order out of chaos, which is his inner life. The fairy tale suggests not only isolating and separating the disparate and confusing aspects of the child's experiences into opposites, but projecting these onto different figures. Even Freud found no better way to help make sense out of the incredible mixture of contradictions which coexist in our mind and inner life than by creating symbols for isolated aspects of the personality. He named these id, ego, and superego. If we as adults must take recourse to the creation of separate entities to bring some sensible order into chaos of our inner experiences, how much greater is the child's need for this? Today, adults use such concepts as id, ego, superego, and ego ideal to separate our internal experiences and get a better grasp on what they are all about. Unfortunately, in doing so, we have lost something which is inherent in the fairy tale, the realization that these externalizations are fictions, useful only for sorting out and comprehending mental processes. When the hero of a fairy tale is the youngest child, or is specifically called the dummy or simpleton at the start of the story, this is the fairy tale's rendering of the original debilitated state of the ego as it begins its struggle to cope with the inner worlds and drives, and with the difficult problems which the outer world presents. The id, not unlike how psychoanalysis views it, is frequently depicted in the form of some animals, standing for our animal nature. Fairy tale animals come in two forms: dangerous and destructive animals, such as the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood, or the dragon that devastates an entire country unless each year a virgin is sacrificed to it in the Two Brothers, a Brothers Grimm story, and wise and helpful animals which guide and rescue the hero, as in the same story, The Two Brothers, where a group of helpful animals revive the dead hero and gains him his just reward of the princess and his kingdom. Both dangerous and helpful animals stand for our animal nature, our instinctual drives. The dangerous ones symbolize the untamed id, not yet subjected to ego and superego control in all its dangerous energy. The helpful animals represent our natural energy against the id, but now made to serve the best interests of the total personality. There are also some animals, usually white birds, such as doves, which symbolize the superego.